I have a brilliant guest waiting, Fleur Hassan-Nahoum, the outgoing Deputy Mayor of Jerusalem, who is going to join me now. Thank you very much for sparing the time this evening. So tell me, what exactly has happened overnight? There's been the bombing of Gaza. Is this making Hamas respond? Is there hope for the remaining hostages?
Well, what's happened is that the ceasefire has been a complete farce, because the ceasefire was given to Hamas on condition of releasing more hostages, or at least negotiating for the release of more hostages. And instead, what do they offer? 4 dead hostages and 1 live hostage, all American, dual citizens. I think they did that to try and see whether the Americans would be enticed into pushing Israel to accept this ridiculous deal. We have another 25 living hostages. Why are they offering us 4 dead hostages? It's ridiculous. And one of your speakers earlier said that Israel is losing world sympathy. The problem is that everybody forgot how this whole thing started. And that is with a horrible massacre on October 7th on peaceful communities in Israel's sovereign territory that nobody wanted and nobody asked for. And this is really the history of the state of Israel in one example. We have never started any wars. We have only defended ourselves. Our soldiers go out there with their hands tied behind their backs. We care more about the civilians in Gaza than Hamas do, because Hamas are a genocidal jihadi group. And I think what was missing in this previous conversation that you had with your guests is the connection between the jihadism of Hamas and the jihadism that is coming to you, to all of you, to Europe, to America, sponsored by Qatar.
So what would you say to David Lammy, who said yesterday in the House of Commons that Israel was in breach of international law? What response would you like to give to him?
I'd like to know exactly what breach he's talking about. What are we in breach of? We are the only country that in the middle of a war has to actually supply humanitarian aid to the enemy that then steals it for themselves. And it's not like they're feeding our hostages. So how many people are breaking international law? Israel is certainly not one of them.
And with the attacks overnight, did Israel have the support of the United States and President Trump, or is it going it alone at the moment?
No, Israel had the support of President Trump, because when President Trump said 2 weeks ago, if you don't release the hostages, all hell will break loose, all hell will break loose. We've had enough. It's been a year and a half. These hostages will not last that much longer. They are in terrible conditions. They're being tortured. They're being starved. What world do we live in that nobody seems to be outraged about the situation with the hostages? And the thing is that if you return the hostages, it's all over. So I don't want to be hearing about these death tolls. These death tolls were created by Hamas.
Thank you very much, Fleur. And you are so right to say we must never forget what happened in October of 2023.